Hello, in this video I will introduce how did I create my own class. First I will introduce the purpose of this class. Second, I will introduce the basic three parts of a class. Third, I will introduce how I test the method in this class. Finally, I will give tips of how to comment the codes. Now let me talk about the purpose of this class. This class named field, it was created to make field which size can be defined as instance variable as width and length, just as we had been practiced in class. Here I developed the code and I add a new variable, picture variable, to show the fields. I try to make the fields visible. Thus, I can edit a field as a picture and use the methods in class picture. Now I will introduce the three basic parts of a field. The first one is fields. Okay, here we see that's the title of this class is public class named field. So I make this class as public, so it can be invoked from other class. And this class have three basic parts. The first one name is fields. The second one is constructors. The third one are methods. For the fields, it contains the figures you try to describe this object, this field object. Here we have the name. A field should have a name, so we should have a name, and a field should have size. It should have width and length. So at least it should have three fields, name and size. Name is string type. I make it private, and size, width, and length is in the type is integer. I also make it private. The purpose of make this instance variable private, so it couldn't be added, be changed outside of this class. And I also, because I want to make this field visible, so I also add another instance variable, picture. So picture field. So I try to make this field as a picture, so I can show it, I can edit it. Okay, this is the field part. Then I will introduce constructor part. A constructor is the way to how to create the object, the field object. So there are three ways to, here we have three ways to create the field object. The first one is non-arg array. So every variables are default. The name is default. The size is default. And usually it doesn't has parameters. Okay, the second way, the second constructor is with one arg constructor. It means it has one parameters. it has the name, so you can set the name of this field, but the other variables are default, the size are default. And the third constructor is 3arg constructor. It means it has 3 parameters. So it means the name and the size are set by the parameters. This is the 3 constructors. It has 3 ways to create a field object. And for the constructors, it has public and then the class name. It doesn't have return type or void. So that's the different from method. Usually for the method, we have return type, or we have void. If it doesn't have to return anything, just make it void. But for the constructor, there's no return type or void, only public, and then class name. Here I make the constructor as public and most of the method as public, so they can be invoked, they can be called from outside this class. Now it comes to getters and setters. Getters is to get the name or get the size of the field. Here we can get the name of the field. Usually getters, they don't. It's the method they don't have, which doesn't have parameters, and because they will return the value you want, so they have a return type. Here, if you want to get the name of the field, you have to return the name is string type, so it could be a republic string and the method's name get carp, then it will return the name. I also make it the getters public, all the getters public, and then you can get the width of the method of this field and get the length of this field. They all need a return type, and they doesn't have parameters. But for the setters, the purpose of setters is to set the private value of to set a name, set a size. So usually they have parameters, but usually they don't have return type. Like this way, they have void. When set new name, and then it doesn't have return type. So they don't return something. But here, when you set width, the size, width and length, it has parameters, but it has return type, because you have to decide because the width and the length must be positive. If they are negative, then you have to return false. And if they are positive, they greater than 0, then you set width as new width, the parameters value. Here, do you notice that here's a this width? So it means this object you create, this field you create. So this dot length means the length of this object, of this field. That's setters, and then that's really important. That's the setters and the getters are necessary of a class and of this field class. And I also have write some other methods, like I write a method to calculate the areas of this field. It's a public method, and I also write a method to set the field as the color you like. As what I said before, I try to make this field visible, so I make it as a picture. The other purpose is to use the method in the class picture to edit this field. So at the very beginning, I copy those things from the picture class in order to use the method in picture class. This is the 3 basic parts of a class. And in order to test the method in this class, in order to test the setters, getters, and other methods, I write a main method to test it. Later, I will run this program to test it. Okay, here I run this method to test. Oh, I forgot to compile it. Okay. I'll run it. See, I create 3 fields. And the first field I just let it print. F1, and for the second field I let it set the color as pink. I try to make it larger, but it doesn't work. I have to figure out it. And I also test this method. See, that's that's the result of this method. And I create the third field, F3, and here's the F3 field. The size is 400 by 400. It doesn't have it has the default color is white. Now let's go back to the code. The final thing I want to talk is the command of the codes. I really like this structure I create. The very first, I put field here, so make this area as fields area, and make this area as constructor areas and